guys? Welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today in the Ask SSM video series, I got an email from a young subscriber, and he wrote to me because recently he and his girlfriend got into a big fight over the situation with her best friend. But it turns out her best friend happens to be a guy, and also a guy that she hooked up with 7 years ago. And when this guy found out that she's hanging out with him, he pretty much told her, this ain't gonna happen. I'm not cool with you hanging out with a guy you used to hook up with, or any dude for that matter. And as you can imagine, they got into a fight, and that's where things left off. And he wants to know pretty much, did he do the right thing? Did his take on the whole thing, was it justified? So I'm going to go through his email here, and then I'm going to lay out the whole thing and address the whole issue of, can men and women be just friends? And my views on that and all that. So he says, hey SSM, this isn't really share worthy or video worthy due to it being too short. I'm more or less looking for advice or an opinion. So earlier, I called my girlfriend and she sent me straight to voicemail. I called her again 2 minutes later and asked why she sent me to voicemail, and she said she was calling a cab for her best friend. At first, I thought nothing of it because her best friend often comes over on weekends and they drink together. But the more we talked, the more she started saying things like, yeah, he was drinking a lot, or he needed a ride home. That's when I asked, who is this guy and why is he your best friend? Why have I never heard of him? She reluctantly told me they had hooked up on one drunken night over 7 years ago and had formed a bond. I am so upset that she's still friends with this dude. I told her that you shouldn't be best friends with someone you hooked up with, or even friends with that person for that matter. We got into an argument about it earlier, and if she stays firm and continue to be his friend, I'm done. I just want to know if I'm justified in what I said or not. Well, bro, you are absolutely justified in what you said, but I'm going to come back to that at the end. Now, guys, I'm going to use this opportunity, like I said at the beginning, to address the whole can men and women be friends thing, because I never actually really discussed this before in previous videos, so that'd be a good one to cover. And the answer to that question is no. Men and women cannot be friends, let alone best friends. And the reason is, it just simply doesn't work, because both parties are going to have ulterior motives no matter what. Now, before I get into this, first I'm going to give my definition of friends. I want to make this as clear as possible, okay? I'm not talking about a gal who you're acquainted with, okay? For instance, me. I know a number of different women that I'm acquainted with from other friends. These are the wives or girlfriends from dudes I'm friends with, or family or whatever. And so I'll see some of these women on occasion at a gathering of some sort, a party, barbecues in the summer, things like social events, right? And so I can see these gals, different age ranges, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and when I'm around them, they're cool, we're friends, we joke around, all that, but that's that, okay? I don't hang out with them. I don't text them. I have no relationship with them whatsoever, okay? Done. These aren't relationships. I don't spend time with women outside of like a gathering that I'm not hooking up with, because it's a waste of my time. Okay, I can't make that any more clear. Okay, so this for you guys, these would be gals that you might know from, again, mutual friends, your buddies, girlfriends, or their friends that tend to go to the parties that you go to, or maybe gals maybe you work with, or gals maybe you're in a say you're in a you do martial arts and she's in the class. You chit chat while you're there. Maybe everybody gets together sometimes to hang out, but you don't hang out with them individually. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about guys and gals hanging out separate from a party or group atmosphere, okay? That type of friendship where they text and communicate with each other, they get together. That type of friendship does not work, okay? Because number one, when guys hang out, no guy, no straight man is going to hang out with a good-looking woman if he doesn't want to hook up with her, okay? There's always an ulterior motive, all right? And this is why us guys know girls hanging out with other dudes, we see it as bullshit. We know what's going on in his mind. He wants to sleep with her, okay? Because he won't be wasting his time. Men, straight men, will hang out with women, good-looking women, usually for a few reasons. Number one, either he is currently sleeping with her, or B, he wants to sleep with her. That's usually the main situation. He's just biding his time, being her buddy, in hopes that her boyfriend screws up or something like that, and he gets his shot. Okay, that's the biggest reason. Or he's spending time and hanging out with her because she has a friend that he likes and she is the bridge to getting to that friend. Or she maybe has something that he can gain from that friendship. Who knows? That's about it. Okay? Women, on the other hand, will hang out with guys for similar but different reasons. A woman will play the friend card with a guy if she really likes him and is hoping to make him a boyfriend. She'll play the friend and all that, but she wants him as a boyfriend. Ulterior motive. Or she's spending time with him to get to maybe another one of his buddies that she really likes. Or this guy has resources or something she can gain from that friendship. Maybe a job, maybe a connection, something like that. Or, the very common one, quite simply, she loves the attention, okay? She doesn't really care about hearing about his problems or his life. She just wants another dude to parade around, to pay attention to her, that she can talk to and open up to and all that, okay? Or also that if she's having a bad day, she can text him and boom, he'll respond and come meet up with her for a drink. And meanwhile, he's hoping that he can get her in the sack, that finally he's going to get a chance to get to sleep with her. No, she just wants attention. Okay, so there's both parties of ulterior motives. It's not going to work. The only time that a guy and a gal, good-looking one, can be just friends is usually if the guy's gay, because he's not attracted to her. And it's like, let's be honest, two girlfriends hanging out. And I'm not knocking gay dudes at all. I got friends that are gay dudes. They're awesome. But let me make that clear. But that's usually the only case when a guy and a gal can be truly no strings attached friendships. Now, back to his question, did he do the right thing? Absolutely, okay? If she shouldn't be hanging out with this dude. Either they are sleeping together now, no offense, or they're going to be down the road, okay? He's just waiting for his time when you guys get into a fight, like right now, she's upset, and boom. Or she's keeping him on layaway, so when she's pissed off at you, you go on a break or something, she goes sleep with him. Or she's sleeping with him anyway, all right? You did the right thing. Now, here's the thing. I'm just reading my notes here because I want to make sure I get everything out. You have to lay down the law with your girlfriends, guys, your relationship guys. So if you don't want your girl hanging out with other dudes, and they shouldn't be, because you should be her main guy, and we know that them hanging out with other dudes is for ulterior motives, you got to lay out your terms. Best in the beginning of the relationship. And if they don't like it, okay. There's no confusion, they walk. Now, when a guy lays out his terms that, I don't want you hanging out with other dudes, and certainly being BFFs with other dudes, straight dudes, you're going to get a lot of shit. You're going to be labeled as controlling. You're going to be labeled as insecure, and probably many other nasty things that she can come up with. Be prepared for that, as well as probably her friends, and probably anybody else that you know, and you can't care, okay? Because otherwise, this type of thing happens, all right? So you did the absolute right thing, and good for you. Now, keep in mind this. Do you think the situation was reversed to this guy who wrote this in? Do you think that your girl will be cool with you hanging out with a beautiful woman who you hooked up with in the past and just being best friends? Oh, hell no. She'd have a major problem with that. But it's okay for her to do it. And there's no woman out there that would want their man, whether it be a husband, fiance, boyfriend, hanging out with a woman that's better looking than them, that in the past they hooked up with, because they know she could be after them. So this whole thing that they can do it, but we can't, that's bullshit, right? But last but not least, to finishing this whole thing to the guy who wrote this in, at this point, what's done is done. And you need to stick to your guns, okay? You said flat out, I don't want you hanging out with him, end of story. Be prepared, that's the end of your relationship. And if you don't care, good for you, because you shouldn't be so wrapped up that you do care. Because I'm sure she'll come back and label you as insecure and controlling and all that crap, and amongst many other things. You can't care. I'm sure her friends will say the same thing. You can't care. You're your own freaking man. You don't care what other people think, and you got to take care of you. And again, what would happen if you were hanging out with a beautiful woman, right? You think she'd be too happy about that? You need to stick to your guns and not go back on this. So if you're not talking right now and she reaches out to you and tries to make you feel bad or something like that, or say, are you going to grow up now, or something like that, say, no, these are the terms and we're going to stay together, but you have to then stick to that. But the odds are, bro, even if she does agree to this, she's going to keep seeing him anyway. Okay, and you're going to have to be walking around kind of wondering, sleeping with one eye open. So I pretty much can probably see this fizzling at this point. But going forward, guys, for all you relationship guys out there, no, you all know darn well you're all shaking your head when you're listening to this, that you wouldn't be hanging out with some girl listening to her babbling bullshit unless you wanted to sleep with her, okay? It is what it is. I've done it in the past. I don't do it now, but I did it when I was younger, for whether because I liked her friend or I wanted to sleep with her or some other thing. I'd have the balls to ask her out back in the day, and I figured I would just bide my time and be a nice guy and listen to all her bullshit and have my shot. It didn't work out. Okay? Or she had a friend that I liked, and she was my way of meeting that girl. Things like that. Is it selfish? Yeah, but we're all selfish. So men and women just simply cannot be just buddies. Unless, of course, like I said, if the man is gay, because then it's a different ball game. So for you guys in this situation, you got to lay out your terms and also make it abundantly clear that if she crosses them, you're done. So I'm going to pretty much say to the guy who wrote this question, you're done. Walk away, move on. And if she then tries to come back with you, say, okay, well, you're not hanging out with that dude anymore. But even then, you don't know she's actually keeping her word. Flip a coin and what could happen. So, bro, you did the right thing. Good job. And by you writing this in, because this was a good thing to write in to address the subject, now you're helping out other dudes. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let this guy know what you think about this subject. Also, let me know, guys, in the comments what you think about this whole men and women being friends things. I'd like to know your opinion on this. I'm sure most of you guys would agree with me. But if you don't, hey, that's fine with me. Comment away. I'd like to hear your opinions on this thing. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.